The three main types of wood used at DCI are maple, ash, and oak. While identifying each species can be tricky, by the end of this video you should have a basic understanding on how to distinguish between the three main types. The most commonly used methods to identify what species you are handling will be color and grain pattern of the wood. Let's start with the color. Here is a piece of oak, ash, and maple. You may notice right away that the colors are all a bit different. The oak has a reddish-brown color, the ash is much lighter colored and almost white, while the maple has a tannish-brown shade. However, this is only the average way of determining species. There are exceptions. For example, depending on the way the board is cut, how long it has dried for, or even what type of nutrients the tree had access to in its section of the forest, oak, ash, and maple can sometimes be the exact same color. If you cannot tell them apart by color, you must look at grain pattern. Grain pattern refers to the visible growth rings of a log that are revealed when the log is sawn into boards. All three typically have long straight grains, with maple having more subtle, less pronounced grain lines than ash or oak. The grain pattern can change depending on how and at what angle the log has been sawn. Also, certain sections of the trunk, such as where a branch once grew, can cause curved or wavy grain patterns outside of the typical straight grain pattern. Therefore, you should look for dark colored dashes called rays. Rays are only present in oak. If no rays are visible, then the wood is either ash or maple. Here is an enlarged view of oak rays that are present throughout oak. We can also inspect the end grain, or sawed-off end of the lumber, to view the individual layers of growth rings. Both ash and oak have noticeable pores along the grain that look like hundreds of tiny pinholes. This is also known as open grain. Maple has a non-porous end grain called a closed grain, and will show a solid end cut with 0 pinholes. The final method of determining common species used at DCI is to judge by smell. When cut or sanded, maple has a pleasant sweet smell, oak has little to no odor, and ash has a bitter and often unpleasant smell. This is why you can sometimes know what species is being run just by walking into the mill. Let's recap. Ash is almost white with long straight grains, open pores, and a bitter, unpleasant odor when cut. Oak is reddish-brown with long straight grains and open pores. It has rays running throughout the wood and almost no odor when cut. Maple is tannish-brown with straight grains, no visible pores, and a sweet, pleasant odor when cut. No one expects you to become a species identification expert on your first day, but hopefully this video helped get you on the right track.